In this problem, we're going to be using what's called the AC method of factoring. This is where we're going to be factoring a trinomial, meaning we have three terms. Now, to start, what we're going to do is we're going to start by multiplying our first and our last numbers, being the 6 and the negative 15. Now, when I multiply 6 and negative 15, that's going to give me negative 90. I'm going to put that in the top of this diamond. Now, if there was not a number there, I would still multiply the first and the last number. But if there is no number, well, there really is a number. That would just be 1. So I would multiply the 1 and the negative 15. But when there's a number here, we multiply them and put that number up top. Now, in this bottom part of this diamond, I'm going to put the number that is attached to my middle term. Now, there's nothing there, but there really is a 1. So I'm going to put a positive 1 down there. Now, what I'm looking to do, I'm looking for numbers that are going to multiply to that top number and add to that bottom number. So I'm looking for factors of 90 that add to positive 1. Now I could run through some numbers. I could run in 2 and 45. That doesn't add to 1. I can do 3 and 30. Doesn't add to 1. I could run through my options until I finally land on 10 and 9. Now, what about the signs? Because they have to multiply to negative 90. So one of these signs is going to have to be a negative. Well, if I made that a negative 10 and that a positive 9, it would not add to positive 1. So once I figure this out, I realize that this has to be a negative 9. Again, 10 times negative 9 is negative 90. 10 plus negative 9 is 1. Now that I have selected these two numbers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this middle term with those two numbers. So it's going to give me a 6x squared, and I'm going to replace this plus x with a plus 10x and a minus 9x, and then of course the minus 15. Now, again, notice I have not changed the original problem. 10x minus 9x is still a positive x. I've just taken those two numbers from this diamond and replaced them in this part. Now, what I'm going to do is now I have a 4-term polynomial. 4 terms, we're going to use factor by grouping, which we've discussed in a previous video. So I will group the first 2 terms together and the second 2. From this first group, 6x squared and 10x, I can factor out a 2x. Taking out 2 from 6 leaves me with a 3, and 1x out of there leaves me with just an x. Taking 2 out of 10 will leave me with a positive 5, and taking 1x out leaves me with no x's inside. Again, notice I have grouped in that negative sign in the second set of terms. So again, I have 2 minuses, so I can take out a minus, and with the 9 and 15, I can take out a 3. No variables can come out in this one. So when I factor out a negative, remember, I change the sign. So negative 9 becomes a positive, and take out 3 leaves me with a 3 and an x. I take factor the negative out of this negative 15. That becomes a positive, and factor the 3 out of 15 leaves me with 5. Now notice, again, I have this term and this term. What do they share in common? The 3x plus 5, which I can then factor out, just like factor by grouping. So I take the 3x plus 5 out. What am I going to have left? Well, this first term, if I take that out, I'm just left with a 2x. Of the second group, if I take that 3x plus 5 out, I'm left with a minus 3. Now, this is my final product. What I would like you to do now is, again, pause the video, and I'm going to give you a sample problem to do. When you're finished, hit play again, and you'll see my explanation. The problem that you're going to be doing is going to be 2x squared plus 3x minus 9. Pause the video now, and when you're done, come back and hit play. Alright, so let's begin by solving this problem here. So again, I'm going to start off by setting up my diamond and multiplying the first and last to give me negative 18. And in the bottom, I'm going to put the number that's right there, in this case, a positive 3. After running through some options, you're going to find out that 6 and negative 3 multiply to negative 18 and add to positive 3. Those two are going to get replaced in the middle here as a plus 6x minus 3x minus 9. Now, you may have put these in different orders as a minus 3x and a plus 6x. That is perfectly fine. Your step might be a little different from mine next, but our final answer should be exactly the same. So here, group first 2, group second 2, factor out a 2x, leaving me with an x plus 3. Factor out a minus 3, leaving me with signs change, x plus 3. Common terms, factor that out, x plus 3. And what's left? A 2x and a minus 3. And there's your final answer.